Hello, everybody. I'm going to do something that I have not done before. And this is actually something that I think everybody should do at least once in their lives when they get a chance to. But I'm going to critique my favorite movie of all time. And I'm going to talk some mad junk about some of the things that are in that movie. And I apologize ahead of time because I know so many people love this movie. It's been raved about for the longest. But I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going to put a lot of effort into trying to not find the worst things about it, but being honest about what the movie actually is and take off the nostalgia glasses and everything. Now, before I mention what the movie is, I just wanted to say I just saw Raya the Last Dragon. That movie made me so happy. I loved the movie. I thought it was amazing. I thought everything about the movie was great. I thought it was so nice to have a movie that was just it seemed so not done before, and by that I don't mean like the story hasn't been done before. They haven't done the forces of darkness and evil and friendship and all that stuff. I'm just saying like it was nice to see an original piece from Disney in a long time, and it was about minorities, and it was about women, and it was about a culture that wasn't about white people, and it was just nice that it was away from all the political agendas that usually it is about, and it still managed to be a good movie, and it didn't require appealing to political views and feminism and gay rights and black people, and it didn't appeal to to conservative views. It didn't appeal to liberal views. It didn't appeal to any stuff. It wasn't about any of that stuff. It was just a good movie, and it was nice to have that. And I don't want anybody to feel like they can't enjoy a movie that doesn't have all of those things in it. It is okay to enjoy something that doesn't do any of that. Now, it had a lot of flaws in it, but I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it probably more than I've enjoyed it a lot of Disney movies. And I think it's one of my top favorite Disney movies of all time. Now, that's not the one I'm going to judge today. Now, the reason I'm judging my favorite movie is because I've realized that this is probably going to be some kid's favorite movie. So somebody's going to look at this movie, probably my daughter, because she watched it and she was like googly eyed over everything about the movie, and that did my heart so well. Um, but also it's probably maybe this will be her version of my favorite movie, and to be able to critique something that you love and still be able to say that's your favorite movie, I think that is a good skill to have, and I think that's just something to be able to acknowledge. And for the longest time I had these blinders on for what I thought was the best movie of all time, and I would argue tooth and nail that my favorite movie was the best movie of all time when it's not, and it's not, and I can look at that now realizing that even though this movie had flaws, I enjoyed everything about it. I don't have anything to complain about. Even the things that have flaws, the flaws in it, I still enjoy. So that being said, I'm going to get into what I'm actually going to critique. I spent too long talking about prior to what I'm going to do. But what I'm going to critique is my favorite movie. My favorite movie of all time is The Lion King. And yes, The Lion King. Favorite movie, watched a million times over, love everything about it, enjoy it, and I think it's amazing. I think it's it's I love the movie more than I love any other movie. Lion King is my favorite movie of all time. Now, before I used to be able to say that Lion King was the best movie of all time, right? And I liked it, but again, people are probably going to come at me and be like, you're not the best movie ever. But I would fight you on that. But, after watching Raya the Last Dragon, I look back, and I've known this for a long time, but nobody would be able to tell me this. But looking back at Lion King, I can see that Lion King is not even close to the best movie of all time. In a matter of fact, I would even stipulate to say that Lion King does a lot of things wrong that it keeps it from being a fantastic movie. I think that Lion King was an amazing movie for me to watch as a little kid, and I think if I watch it again now, which I've watched it so many times, but I don't need to because I've watched it in my head easily. But if I was to watch it now, I would tear that movie to shreds. I would tear that movie to shreds, criticizing everything about that movie. Now, the first thing that I want to say is Lion King relies too much on its music to hold your attention. Too much. There is some meaningful lines in Lion King, and then they sing. Meaningful line in Lion King, then they sing. Meaningful line in Lion King, then they sing. That's a whole pattern behind Lion King. And yes, it's a musical. Yes, you can argue, but it's so heavy-handed on its music. It relies on its music. It depends on its music. And you can even see that when you watch the live action Lion King movie. It's it's just it to me it's kind of pathetic. Like it just like it's a crutch. The music for Lion King is phenomenal, but it's a crutch, and you can't just make a movie that's just music and nothing else substantially in the movie, like it's to me, I don't particularly like musicals. I'm not a fan of musicals. I think that there should be substance, and I'm more a fan of dialogue and good dialogue than rather uh the movie that I think is the best movie ever. So that's what I would like to say, is that the music is the thing that holds Lion King together. It's not the Lion King story that holds it together. It's the Lion King music that pulls you in. It's the drama that's built in the scene from the music. Because if you were to just play Lion King without that powerful score, it's just another Disney movie that doesn't hold your attention. And I can say that. And I still think it's still my favorite movie. But that's the reality. It's like that. That is the reality. And that's just one thing. Another thing is that when I'm watching Lion King, there's Simba's a terrible person. Like throughout the entire movie, like he's not a good character. he's a bad. He's an annoying little snot. And I loved Simba when I was little. Can't stand him now. As a little kid, he's just most annoying. He roots for to be the king, and he's rooting for his dad's death, and then when he gets it, he abandons the entire kingdom. Yes, out of fear. Yes, you could argue that but he was a big old grown lion. He could have went back, and he could have beat. Well, he didn't, and he threw fits, and he blamed himself for his fire. Like and he was manipulated, but still, and it's just bad. He's a bad. Simba's not. As a child, I liked Simba all the way through. As an adult, I can understand Simba and what he was going through, but still say that he was wrong. So wrong. About everything, really. Man, like, it was embarrassing. Like, today, I would be extremely embarrassed to still say that Simba is a good person when he was a kid. He's an annoying little kid, very annoying little kid. But it was realistic, and he's a very realistic kid. Like little snots, we were little snots when we were little. Come on, we all little selfish, spoiled little snots, and you expect him to be a selfish, spoiled little snot because everything was given to him on a silver platter. Even when he's with Timon and Pumbaa, he's still selfish. He's selfish the entire movie. And that's okay. You can be selfish. Like, it doesn't make it any less my favorite movie, but I actually can appreciate the fact that Simba's not 100% a likable character. And I like the fact that he's not 100% a likable character throughout the movie. I think that his transition into being uh, a character at the end is what kind of holds you. But, still, very much still, you have a character that just kind of, like, just, he's just dropping the ball all over the place. And it's oof. It is oof the entire time. Now, I'm not going to drag out too many things, so I'm just going to hit some points real quick. Um, Scar being the villain that he is, as I remember as a child, I thought Scar was an amazing villain. I thought he I thought he was the villain to hate. Then you grow up and you find out that Scar is not the villain to hate. You find out that Scar is actually completely justified and that this is how lions really interact in the wild. And it's like, you know, and it's like, whatever. And, Scar's motives and his way of doing things. Scar's a coward, and it's not that. His music, again, this is where music holds you. Again, you have Simba had a what made Simba a memorable character was not him as a character. It was the fact that he had Can't Wait to Being King backing him up. You have the circle of life that Mufasa talks about that backs him up. And they get meaningful lines, but they don't get a lot of meaningful lines. They get a little bit of meaningful lines. The dialogue is small and sparse and it's not active. It just is one powerful line and then music. And that's normal for musicals, I'm assuming. Like, 'cause I don't know much about musicals, but maybe that's normal for musicals. But to be honest, I don't think that's good writing. I think that your whole and then also the circle of life is the food chain, and they make it seem like it's more than just the food chain. It's really just the food chain, and this idea that Mufasa somehow subserviently becomes greater than the food chain is also very annoying. Like it's a little much, and it's kind of like over the top. Really, it's gaudy. Blech. It's very gaudy. But yeah, you remember Mufasa because he stands as this powerful figure. You remember Simba because he's this kid who wants to be king, and that's what you remember about Simba is that he's this kid that wants to be king, you know. And there's all these characters. You have Timon and Pumbaa. They're lazy, and they're actually not very good people either. They're actually not good characters. You like Timon and Pumbaa, but they're not good characters. But they sing Hakuna Matata, and you like the character. You have Nala and Simba frolicking around, and Nala just about to kill everybody, and they do make it funny, but they make you laugh. And then again, you have Can We Feel the Love Tonight, and you like Nala and Simba's relationship again, and that's what the movie does. You see Scar as this pathetic villain, then he puts a musical number in, and now it's like, oh my gosh, Scar. That's the movie. That's what the movie is. Every single bit of it is that it relies on that. The whole movie relies on the music to guide you through how to feel. And as a kid, it's doing a fantastic job of it. The music is very good at guiding you how to feel. You're supposed to root for Simba when he wants to be king. You're supposed to feel the awe of the animals and this savannah world that they're building, and you're supposed to it does exactly what you feel it. You feel it because of the music. And the music carries you the entire way throughout the entire movie. And the epic scene, and y'all are gonna hate me about this, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I loved the epic scene of Scar versus Simba at the end, right? Loved it. As a child, loved it. But that is the most boring fight scene I have ever seen in a movie. I'm being completely honest. It was pathetic. It was 3 seconds long, and it didn't mean anything because they just knocked him off at the end. Simba didn't do anything. As a matter of fact, Simba being able to not beat up Scar almost instantly was just like upsetting. Like, to be completely honest, Simba lost that fight. It just got the upper hand for like a second. So again, it was the music. The music made it seem amazing. The slow motion, paw to the face, like all of that made it great, and it ultimately was just kind of whatever. The actual fight was not that good. You got the comeuppance. The movie was short. It was only 90 minutes. They didn't really go into how all the other animals feel in the movie. They didn't talk about anything else except for Simba's life. They didn't go into how Nala was feeling. They barely covered any of the other aspects of the movie, but it was still a great movie, and a lot of us say that that's our favorite movie. And I want to kind of put this as a challenge for people, is when you look at, and maybe I'm the only one who's just now doing this and really going into it, and I probably did it in silent, but I never said anything out loud, and I'm not afraid to do that now, because I'm gonna trash my favorite movie, because there are some things that are just unacceptably written, and the fact that the whole thing was still not original and it was based off of Kimba the White Lion, also a trash move. But again, it's still my favorite movie, and I love it. I love the movie. It's still my favorite movie to this day, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that being my favorite movie. And then when my daughter grows up, and maybe this will be her favorite movie, maybe it won't, but when she grows up and she sees this as her favorite movie, and she sees it and she loves it, and she has the nostalgia glasses on, and she's like, oh my gosh, I love this movie, everything about it, everything's great, this is the greatest movie when I was a little baby, blah 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 blah, all this stuff. When she sees movies and she thinks that, I'm gonna let her think it. I'm not even gonna trash it. I'm not gonna say she was wrong. I'm not going to go after her. I'm not gonna say that she was just putting on her nostalgia glasses. I'm gonna let her think that. I'm gonna let her have that, because that could be the greatest movie to her, and that's okay. Differences of opinions are not facts, and it's okay to say that the movie was amazing and still say that it had flaws. I loved Raya the Last Dragon. I love Lion King as my favorite movie. And I think they're both flawed, but they're so much fun to watch. And I think the point that I was trying to make is that Raya the Last Dragon, from an objective standpoint, is not better or worse than Lion King. I think that they're both good movies for different reasons, and that's okay. I think they're both good movies in that each one has its strengths, and I don't think anybody else has the ability has to compare the two. But I wanted to compare them because my favorite movie, I don't believe, is better than this movie that I just watched. I don't think Lion King is better. I like it more, but I don't think it's better. That's it. So I say watch it. Watch the movie. It's $30. You don't have to pay that money for it, but watch it. It's a good movie, and I think that Disney did a great job with this movie, and I'm thoroughly impressed with the movie, even though I think that it has some pretty bad flaws. But it's still a good movie, and I still think you should watch it. And it has a great message, and I'm not going to spoil it. So enjoy, guys, and that's it.